Podcast. We're back, episode 237. Not a lot of news in terms of NFL, but we're going to the NBA. We got some season recaps to do this episode, starting with the losers of the first round. We got the Magic, we got the Hawks, we got the Rockets, and we got the Suns. All teams that lost in the first round. One team blew a 3-1 lead. Another team got belted ass. Another team got swept. A lot of different results happening in the first round. So we might have some varying opinions on, what these teams go and try to accomplish this offseason after their playoff struggle. So all that being said, guys, stay tuned. NBA. We got the second round going on right now. If you haven't already, guys, make sure you go see the last episode where we previewed the semifinal rounds, all the series, and we gave you our predictions and how many games, all that good stuff. Today's episode, we're doing season recaps, looking into the teams that unfortunately lost in the first round. Like I said in the opener, some teams got belted ass. Some teams, fought pretty tough games. With the Magic being the one team to drop a 3-1 deficit. So let's start with, I guess let's start in the East. We got the Hawks who, were looking pretty challenging to the Knicks the first couple of games. The Knicks looked like they lost their toughness, lost, how to play defense. The Knicks just didn't look like themselves, honestly. We were giving a lot of credit to the Hawks. But I think the last 3 games 4, 5, and 6, New York finally flipped the script and I guess you could say put Atlanta in their place. Made them look like inferior talent for sure. So I'll start with you, Jacob. How would you grade the Hawks season as a whole? And what do they have to kind of look forward to this offseason to kind of maybe put themselves over the hump? They were, I think, all of our sleeper team, at least in the East this season. So what do they got to do to not be a sleeper team and be a legitimate threat?
I think they need to make a move, and they also need their young guys to keep getting better. Jalen Johnson, we've talked about a couple times on here, had a tremendous season. Probably going to be, the face, or at least the number 2 guy in Atlanta for a long time, unless someone kind of unseats him, probably the number 1 guy. I think the big thing is going to be re-signing CJ McCollum. Everybody knows the trade. We talked about it a lot. Trae Young up to the Wizards, and in exchange for CJ McCollum, who for the Wizards was on an expiring contract, probably wasn't going to re-sign in Washington. So it really gelled for CJ with Atlanta. I don't think the team currently constructed was ever going to win an NBA title, but you could definitely see the makings of some chemistry there. You can kind of see it kind of working. They were one of the hottest teams kind of going into the playoffs, and they gave the Knicks a challenging first half of the series. The better team and the Knicks eventually, kind of figured it out. But I would look for the development of number 1 overall pick, Zachary Richichet. I've been waiting for him to kind of break off. I mean, first overall pick, and definitely already looks like Alex Sarr is the better of the 2 on the top of that draft. But continued development for their young guys, and got to get CJ back. But it would be interesting if they could kind of pull a deal and get a star. I know they have all their assets, their draft picks, and they got some young guys that I just mentioned. So I would look for Atlanta to be aggressive this offseason, but knowing the Hawks, they're most likely going to try to just re-sign CJ, run it back, and try to get this 5th or 6th seed next year and get bounced in the first round next year. But overall, I would say it was a pretty solid season for them, especially after that trade, sending a superstar in Trae Young out of town.
Okay, Lawrence, what are your thoughts on the Hornets? Or not the Hornets, the Hawks, pushed the Knicks to 6 games, made some big moves prior to the trade deadline to kind of switch things up team-wise. How would you grade their season, and how can they get to that legitimate threat in the East?
Their season probably overall was like a C. It's about average. Couldn't ask for more because they weren't good enough to get more. Maybe they overshot because they finished first in the Southeast. I don't really care or know what that really means in the NBA, but cool, they finished first in something. But you finished last overall in reality because you're out. But I think the problem with the team is it's too young. It is really just too young. There's not enough, I would say, star vets in order to help the, I'd say, development of the team. As much as we love to say Steve McCollum is prospering there, but he's not. He's never been like the guy, like the guy. And you're not going to tell me that Jalen Johnson is like some the guy that's just going to come out of nowhere. Like he's a good number 2, like on any other team. But this team is probably going to make them their 1. And that's not ideal. This team really needs like just a first 5 in the pick. That's what they need. Like there's something that they're not going to have. And it's just saying right there that Buddy Hield was 5th on the depth chart for the small forward, but I'm pretty confident that man was playing minutes in the postseason. So why the hell is that man 5th in the depth chart?
That's a good question. I mean, I would give the Hawks a solid B. I give them B plus. I mean, at least the outlook of their future is definitely brighter without Trey. I feel like the last couple of years they've tried to make it work with Trey ever since the Eastern Conference Finals that they made versus I think it was the Toronto Raptors. It's kind of been downhill ever since, right? They just really haven't been able to put a solid team around Trey, and I feel like with Trey, you have to put certain players around him in order to fill the void in terms of his defensive liability. So switching this new unit over to Quinn Snyder and giving him a bunch of positional size, even though they don't have a true center, giving him a lot of flexibility with the lineups, players that probably gel a little bit better together on the court than what they had in previous iterations of the Hawks. So I like their future. Like you said, Jacob Richardson has to develop. Number 1 pick for a reason. He's looking like an average role guy right now. So I'm interested to see if they move off of him. I think that's definitely a possibility here. Do they try to lure one of these superstars that might or might not ask for a trade this offseason? Do they go for a Giannis? Do they go for a Kawhi? Do they go for another potential guy who might ask out Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker if he ever becomes available? Like, those are some guys they should probably think of, maybe saving a couple of their chips for. But I agree. Just keep developing the young guys. You got Jalen Johnson, probably going to be all NBA player. So you at least have one guy. Probably in your best interest to re-sign CJ. Have a good vet who can, teach the young guys, how to be a pro in the NBA. I think that's a very good idea if it doesn't cost you too much. But I think all in all, B plus season. Making some additional moves this offseason to, maybe get a true point guard and get that 1A guy. Because, like you said, Lawrence, Jalen Johnson's probably a 2. You probably don't want him to be your 1A guy, but I still think he has some untapped potential. So who knows? We'll have to see if he can continue to grow. But he definitely had a all NBA caliber season, and those rankings aren't out yet. But I'm sure when they come out, he'll be maybe 2nd or 3rd team. So they got a bright future ahead of them for sure.
And Jalen Johnson came out of nowhere. I mean, for me at least, he had 49 double-doubles this year, 13 triple-doubles. I know it kind of feels mean we're saying he's not a 1, but he did average 23, 8, and 10. And it's like he's a really young guy. I do kind of agree that they do need a kind of more of a dynamic scorer and let Jalen Johnson kind of be the number 2 guy and then also pass the ball, also kind of man all the rebounds and stuff. Like, he's going to be a really good player for a really long time. I just think that we all kind of believe that he'd be better off if he had a real superstar in front of him. But who knows? He might end up being that superstar. I mean, if he takes another leap next year and puts up Jokic-like numbers, I mean, this might be the one of the guys that everybody's not going to know his name in a couple of years, potentially.
What do we think about moving off of Ricochet? Like, is that a real possibility? He just has not developed into what you would consider number 1 overall talent.
It's the NBA, so I think yes. I think if they can get a guy, kind of like what Lawrence was saying, if they can get like another CJ McCollum prototype in terms of a guy that's been around for a while, a guy that's going to be a good leader and still has good production, man, because I could see Ricochet going to one of these struggling teams just that kind of as another project, because it does look like he might need a change of scenery. especially if the Hawks are trying to win right now. They don't have time to develop him.
And that's what Kuminga's brought in for. That's why you have Kuminga. Like, you wanted Kuminga so that you would have the ability to, I would say, fast track the development of a player. There was no development with Kuminga. You don't have to do shit. The Golden State Warriors already done that. And Golden State Warriors are, according to last night, not like all the other teams. You know, Chuck and Kenny really made it a point that, like, that ain't what all teams are like. That's a winning culture. So even though Kuminga was a little bit of a porch sport, you know, wasn't getting any time, wasn't getting any love on a championship team, he still knows what a championship locker room is. So, like, that's why you brought Kuminga in, and that's probably why you brought him in to further re-sign him. So, yeah, I think that allows him to be expendable. And honestly, you could probably get a return on value that's pretty decent. You could probably get a first-round pick for the boy.
And they have the New Orleans Pelicans first-round pick this year, so they might actually be in the lottery.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure that when they got Derek Queens, they traded the unprotected first.
I think the Hawks desperately, in my opinion, need one of the top 5 picks in this draft. Apparently, it's supposed to be kind of deep. I don't really know how deep it really goes. I watched a lot of college basketball. I didn't think there was anyone that amazing this year. Outside of I will give the BYU kid, the one that got hurt, not the white one, the black
AJ.
one. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. AJ. But I had to make sure we're not talking about the white boy. That guy was kind of ass. But yeah, I don't think there's all these like amazing prospects. I thought they were all kind of on the same par on that. Maybe that's how good they all are. But I think the Hawks need one of those top 5 or one of those top picks. They need to find their way in there, because if you want to keep doing this, like, what was it? Like halfway through the season, they said 10 years record, the Hawks record was like perfect, dead ass even. They had a perfectly perfect even record. Like 500 as 500 can get. That means you're the most mediocre as mediocre can get. And if you want to stop being mediocre, make some splashes, make some noise, make some effort. We've been talking trash to you guys all these years because Trae Young's not really going anywhere, and you guys aren't doing anything. And the best thing you guys have ever done was shock the Knicks in a playoff series.
Hey, that's true. That's true. They haven't really made too much noise since making the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think it is time for a shakeup for sure.
Yeah, they got the 7th best odds. New Orleans was 7th worst, so Atlanta has that pick no matter where it goes. There's no restrictions on it, so they will be in play come lottery on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. NBA draft lottery is Sunday, so we will see then. We'll update you guys next episode on that for sure. But next up in the East, we got the Magic. A team that I had high hopes for, honestly. I know when we did the previews, I think me and you both, Lawrence, said that the Magic should be a top 4 contender in the East, and definitely did not play out that way. Another season riddled with injuries. Desmond Bane kind of carried them throughout the season, but just not enough winning, honestly, to be that top 4 seed. I think they were the 8th. Faced the Pistons in the first round. Blew a 3-1 deficit. Their coach, Jamal Mosley, is now gone, so they got some pieces to pick up and put into place to kind of get them back on track. But you can go first this time, Lawrence. How would you grade the Magic season, and how did they get back to being that team that we all thought could be a top 4 seed in the East?
Up until Game 5. Up until Game 6 at halftime, a B plus, maybe even A season, doing decent. Had a whole lot of injuries. Fought through all those injuries. Got a lower seed than we thought in the playoffs. Looked really good. On the verge of taking out the 1 seed. From Game 6 till, I would say, Game 7 with 5 minutes left. F. Complete, utter destruction, failure. That's why the coach had to go. I mean, dead ass, that's why the coach had to go. There was people so pissed off after Game 6 when you blew it at home that they were getting mad at Javon Carter. And then they thought to themselves, Javon Carter didn't do nothing wrong. He didn't get to play the whole series. Why the hell they even throw him in there just to get his ass whooped like that? You know what? Fuck him. This is on the Magic front office. And you know what? Because it really is the front office's problem, and probably doomed in a couple years, because we're running into the problem with the Magic are having a I wouldn't say a white boy problem, but they're two good white boys of the same last name are consistently getting hurt season after season.
Yeah.
That does, and you're paying them good money to both of them be hurt. And you can't really get rid of one without getting rid of the other, not making the other upset. It's kind of why you don't get family involved. I think this is going to be a nice little stretch. They're going to keep making the playoffs because the East is what they are. But I think they're going to keep leaving us with disappointment when they make it to the playoffs, because we know the Magic can win at home. We know the Magic can put up good performances at home. Magic always struggle when it comes to the playoffs when they're on the road and the games get a little tougher. And I think the reason they struggle when the games get a little tougher, because in reality, Banchero is their best player. And that man is just... he makes getting 20 points one of the hardest things possible on a regular basis. And I don't know if that's just because his bag's not that big, or maybe the way they use him in the paint. But like, I watched this man at college have way more diversity in his game. I don't see it in the pros. Now, mind you, he's constantly getting there to his average of 26 points per game. I'm telling you, that first 20 is always rough. And then the last 6 are always coming from free throws anyways.
Yeah. Paulo has ups and downs this season, mostly down after having a pretty decent year last year, even though he was battling some injuries. Jacob, do you share the same sentiments as Lawrence? Do the Magic have a Wagner problem? How would you grade their season, and how can they get back to being a top team in the East?
I don't think they have a white boy Wagner problem. I liked Mo Wagner when he was on the Wiz. I think Franz is a really good player. I think Franz is probably best suited to be a number 3, which he and Desi Payne kind of flip-flopped this year, because I know Franz missed a lot of time. Yeah. I'm a little more hopeful for the Magic probably than Lawrence is, because I do think that all the injuries and all the noise probably affected Banchero this year, and I think that there is star written in there. This is a guy, kind of like Lawrence said, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Bam Adebayo in the sense that, like, 20 should be easy. It never is. But at any random time, I see Banchero can put up 45. Bam scored 83 this year. Like, the NBA is hard and random and weird sometimes. Like, was not his best season, but I do think the core there, the big 3, like I said when they made that trade with the 4 first-round picks going for Desmond Bane, it will be a consistent playoff team. It will not be a NBA Finals threatening team, I don't think, unless they make some other big additions. But similar to Atlanta, is Orlando really shooting for that, or are they just shooting to be relevant? Couldn't tell you. I like Banchero. I like Franz. They probably just need to shore up the depth. Maybe getting a new coach in there will help unlock some things with Banchero. But I think they had an okay season. They had high expectations, so I would probably give it a C. But just the way that it ended, even on top, blowing a 3-1 lead to the number 1 seed in the East, is definitely a tough pill to swallow. But we'll see these guys in playoff matchups yearly. I just don't know how many of them are going to win with this current core.
Yeah, this current core I'm not sold on. And now that I'm looking back at it, guys, I'm not a big fan of the Desmond Bane trade. I think they overpaid. Way overpaid.
Yeah, they did.
This might be just as bad of a trade as the Mikal Bridges. Like, I think the Magic are going to end up regretting this. Big overpay. And for that, I want to give them a C-. I get the need for more scoring. And Desmond Bane, hey, great two-way player. He can play defense. He's, scrappy, gritty, can knock down timely shots. But that's not what the Magic needed. They needed a point guard. We've been saying this for years, right, Lawrence? Like, they needed a point guard who can distribute the rock, get people in their places, so that Banchero and Franz don't have to do, shared duties of that. Because it kind of takes away from their game. Like you said, Lawrence, it's a pain to watch Paulo try to score 20. Once he gets 20, it's like, okay, all bets are off. He might get 26. He might get 40, like Jacob said. So, but it's the first 20, and it's hard because he is the offense. He's the engine. Some guys it's hard to be not only the engine, but you got to be the engine for other people. You got to kickstart their engine. So the Magic, the formula that they're going for is just it's not built for a top 4 team in the East, in my opinion. I hate to say that. The Magic, they definitely, kind of been through the ringer the past few years after, Dwight. It really hasn't been relevant up until now, but
don't they get to move off Isaac's money though?
I don't think so. You see this? He's on the book for 14 and a half, 14 and a half, and 15.
Oh, they re-signed. I didn't know they re-signed him. I thought they did re-sign his ass. I didn't know they re-signed him.
Yeah, so they got bad money on the books. Wendell Carter, decent starting big, but I think they could upgrade there. Point guard, of course, they can upgrade there. There's already reports that, Suggs is probably gone. I think they think a little more highly of Anthony Black, but I'm still not even that big of a fan of Anthony Black. He hasn't shown me anything, to be honest.
I like him. I think his college. I think a lot of these players on this team. I don't know. I don't know who the manager was, or the coach. Yeah. I feel like a lot of these players are not meeting their potential of what they were in college, and that's just me. I think Anthony Black was underrated when he was at Arkansas. He just simply was. He really was an engine of that offense, and he doesn't. There was moments in the playoffs where he caused sparks, just because his lengthiness and his aggression on defense. I think that pairs well with Banchero because Banchero has the ability to turn it up on defense. That's how he gets his 20 points at the beginning sometimes. He just randomly turns it up on defense when another team isn't ready for it, gets a steal and gets 2 points, a basket real quick. I think we said it in the group chat the other day. Tibbs coming to coach his team. I think Tibbs getting a hold of this team in its current youth that it is in.
Yeah.
I think they are a good championship. No, I wouldn't say championship. I think they are a good playoff contender. Maybe make it to the Eastern Conference Championship. Because I'm not trying to be cynical. It doesn't take a whole lot to make it to the Eastern Conference Championship. I mean, the Knicks are probably about to do it just because they don't even have to go through Embiid anymore. And a couple years ago, the Hawks did it because all they had to do was beat the Knicks, who constantly undershoot themselves in the foot all the time. I mean, we can go all day. Like the Miami Heat, they won the East not too long ago as an 8th seed. Anything can happen in the East. The East is completely wide open. And if you give Tibbs a team of just young gun kids that don't give a crap, and they come to playoff time and they're going to play, 7 guys deep for 40 minutes. Or sorry, 5 guys deep for 40 minutes. Probably benefits them, to be honest. They got the youth and the ability to do that. Now, mind you, that is everyone staying healthy. And I like to see that happen for a season for them. Because they just can't seem to keep the injuries out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who their next head coach will be. We mentioned Tibbs, another name that's been floating around, Billy Donovan. Former Bulls coach. He used to coach at the University of Florida. I think he won a natty there too as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
I like that too. But I mean, obviously, I think Tibbs is probably
and specifically. I'm not going to lie. That one sounds a lot better because all these players that we're talking about, a lot of their glory days were in college, and that's a college coach. He's going to know how to get it out of them. They're not that far apart. I mean, I'm talking about removed. So they're not that far removed from college.
Yeah, I think either option would be a great idea. Tibbs, defensive guy, get the most out of his players, and they're young, so he can play them 40 minutes, no problem. And then you got Billy Donovan. I think he's a great head coach. Hey, he had the Bulls number 1 in the East at that one point until injuries started to derail the Bulls, starting with Alonzo. So I think he's more than capable of doing great things with the Magic. But we shall see what they end up doing there. Moving to the West, we have. Let's start with the Suns. Really didn't stand a chance against the Thunder. Not enough firepower. Just mostly about to ass with them. But hey, we're back at this point. do they move on from Booker? Matt Ishbia came out the other day and said he's never ever considering trading Booker, but does Booker, go to him privately and say, hey, get me out of here, or whatever the case is? Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, the Suns don't look like they're going to get any better anytime soon. So, Jacob, start with you first on this one. How would you grade the Suns season, and where do they go from here?
I say it's a C. Kind of like you summed up there, like that. This is a team with a really amazing player and not a lot around them. I do think that they played better than their expectations. Like, I definitely didn't think Phoenix would be a playoff team, just considering the Durant departure, and the headline in their return was Jalen Green, which I don't think anybody, including Phoenix, was too excited about. But I will say, shout out to the evil demon himself, Dylan Brooks. Raise your hand if you thought he was going to put up 20 points a game this year. He only played 56 games, but like Dylan Brooks had a really good season. He is going to be a free agent, and he's the exact type of guy that all championship contenders will want, assuming they can get him at a good price, because he can play defense, he can get in the other team's head, he can start shit, and allegedly looks like he can score 20 a game now. I didn't know he had that in his bag. So
Yeah.
the Jalen Green experiment's going to be interesting. That dude shoots like 40 times a game, does not pass the ball. Me personally, I think they have two options. I don't even. They have plenty of options, but I would do one of two things if I were them. I would blow it up, including Booker. Just trade everybody, trade Booker, just hit the reset button. Or they could keep Booker and blow up everything around Booker and just try to reshuffle the cards and hope that they get something else better. Because the way this team is currently constructed, there's not really a whole lot to like here. They got players that are okay players, just looking at the roster, but they clearly do not have enough to be a competitive team year after year in the stacked and loaded Western Conference.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Lawrence, do you agree as well? How would you grade the Suns season? Where do they go from here?
Oh, the Suns season is definitely like a C, B minus, because like they weren't even supposed to be in the whole entire champion. They weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. First off, no one thought that pretty early on, but I don't know. Gillespie's probably gone. I'm not saying he was any kind of amazing bright point for the team, but he's probably gone. Kind of don't really need him and Grayson Allen at the same time. No one's going to trade Grayson Allen from you for... He's 18, 19... So on average, about 18.5 a year. No one's taking that from you for Grayson Allen. Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe he's a glue guy. I don't know. I don't think his Duke track record would say he's a glue guy, but I probably would rather have Gillespie than Grayson Allen, seeing as Gillespie's 26. You could probably re-sign him for probably less than 15, maybe less than 15. Gillespie might get more than 15, but that's just purely on potential of what he could be, because Grayson Allen's in his way and he can't really show his potential with Grayson Allen there. I think what Jacob said is correct, though. Dylan Brooks has got one more year under his contract. He's got a 26, 27, 19, $20 million, 19.9.
Oh, shit.
I would say that Dylan Brooks, they're going to trade. So here's what's going to happen. Ishbia doesn't want to trade Booker because that's his boy. Booker doesn't want to leave Phoenix because they have all the golf courses. He's a really good golfer. A lot of his private interests, like, things he's bought into are in Phoenix. I don't even know this because Stephen A. Smith went on a tangent about it. And he's pretty much playing under a supermax. Like, it's not technically a supermax, but to, like, the average human being, that's a goddamn supermax. He's making too much money that he can even do with. His guaranteed contract is $235 million. So, dude, man, doesn't need to worry about a dang thing. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere. So, I guess we just got to go with what Jacob said. We're going to have to blow this thing up. And if I'm Ishbia, that's probably what you're going to have to do. You're probably going to have to blow that thing up. Now, are you probably paying Royce O'Neal too much money? Probably. He ain't been nothing in a while, but he kind of is like a Phoenix legend. Like, I wouldn't say unremarkably, but like he is kind of a Phoenix legend. Like, that guy has been there for them forever. That's probably why he gets $10 million a year. Now, does he deserve it? No. They probably should try to like make that more cap friendly. Mark Williams spent 1 year thinking he was going to the Lakers on a championship deal, then gets cut, then ends up on the Suns. I would say did a half decent job with what he was given, because there really is no other center on this team in order to like have a strong, like, if I leave this game, everything that I tried and did out there won't be for nothing. No, everything you did and tried out there is for nothing because there is no one behind you on this team. This team's just full of crap. So, yeah, I agree with Jacob. Figure out who you can blow up in order to make a lot of more advancements for the team because Devin Booker's not going anywhere, unfortunately. Pretty much making a super max. Jalen Green, low key, probably is underpaid in comparison. So you probably can't get rid of him. For the talent upside at 24 years old at $33 million, probably doing all right. It's all about the talent upside.
I don't know.
Because there is no other talent upside on that team other than maybe Gillespie. And you already have Grayson Allen, so you know you're going to give him a chance.
I don't know, Lawrence.
Because there is no other person on that team that has talent upside. There isn't. There truly is no one else on that team. Everyone else is too old. You can't say there's potential with someone who's over the age of 30. If there was potential, it would have already shown.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I just think that I wouldn't be buying in to give Jalen Green more money than the 32 he's already making because
I wasn't saying about making more money. I was saying that his money's fine. Like paying 33 to a guy who is your only potential upside on your team. That's how you should view it because like Grayson Allen has no more potential. You know what he is. That's a given. He's never going to do more than that. Dylan Brooks is the only hidden gem on the team because you didn't have him before. Booker has proven he's okay with being in Cancun by the second week. So like that's not a potential and that's not an upside. So like I said, there is no one else on that team other than Jalen Green because what's a 24-year-old that's wants more money? What is he probably going to do? He's probably going to bust his ass and try much harder than everyone else on the team. Probably because this man probably wants to go get paid more in 2 years.
Surely didn't look like it.
Well, he was also hurt half the season, so.
I'm just not a big Jalen Green guy. I thought that I was really high on him coming out of college. I think he was one of the G Leaguer guys. And it just really hasn't worked out for him. I thought he was going to be an offensive bucket getter, and he's more of a – I don't like his style in today's NBA. He's too offensively driven. But I will say back to Phoenix, like that, I thought Dylan Brooks was a free agent. That's their chip right there. That's your big trade chip. Trade him and try to get another young guy, or potentially they try to get another piece that can help them win. Even though I think that could be a good piece to give a team like I don't want to say Atlanta because we just talked about them, but give a team just outside the top 10. Trade Dylan Brooks for the 11th overall pick and trying to get a hidden gem in the draft or something. Because
who should really go after Dylan Brooks? I personally, if it was me, it would be the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not saying anything negative about Bridges, but he easily replaces Bridges.
I like that.
Has a much better track record / history than Bridges, and I think he provides more glue than Bridges. I think a lot of times when Bridges comes on the court, this man just wants to score for himself. He wants to make sure his stats look good. If I beat my woman too, and I don't know what my next career might be after the fact, and the only team that wants to give me a shot at the Hornets, I might have to try to put up good numbers too. Because there's no guarantee where my next job is. And if the Hornets don't want me no more, I don't know who else might. But, they don't have to get rid of Bridges because they could probably re-sign Bridges for whatever money they wanted. He's not going anywhere else. So I low-key think Brooks. And then if you're the Suns, you have no picks. The Hornets have lots of picks.
Right.
Well, they're not lots, but they have some picks. I can get some picks from the Hornets, and they get a glue guy that's going to go out there and play defense. And now it's not Alonzo. Now Ball doesn't have to play any defense. LaMelo can go out there and just put up 14 assists a night. Now he won't care about like his averages. He won't have to worry about playing defense and hustling back real quick. He can showboat to the girls in the front row a little harder because I got 14, I got 25 and 14. My team doesn't need me on the defensive side. I can showboat real quick, but I think that would be a good fit for him. It would be trying like we're saying, the Phoenix really needs to try to sell, needs to do something. The Hornets are probably one of those teams that's going to be making a move. Like they were just in the playoffs when nobody else thought they were going to be.
Yeah, not much to add here, gents. I believe I'm gonna go ahead and agree with both you guys. Suns should blow it up. Will they? It's another story. But as you can see right here, they really don't have a lot of picks moving forward. I believe Houston and even Washington kind of both kind of own their picks going forward in every other year. So they got to find a way to kind of fast track this rebuild because they're not going anywhere with Jalen Green. Jalen Green's basically Tyler Hero of the West, and even a worse version at that. So uh, it's not much to do but sell. So if I'm Matt Ishbia, put the pride to the side, man. Go ahead and sell off. Because just imagine what the haul would be for Devin Booker. I mean, you're probably getting that 3-4 first round picks, man, at the very least. Just do it. Just do it. I think damn all of the trying to compete and all that nonsense. But last but not least, guys, we got the Rockets. They definitely have a dilemma on their hands. From the KD burner account to
No, he's gone. It's not a dilemma. He's just gone.
to some possible changes in roster construction as well. They have a lot to think about. Udoka's job is probably secure just because he signed an extension, so you don't want to pay a guy not to be there after you just gave him a boatload of money. So it seems like there's probably only one or two moves you can make, and they all center around KD. So I'll start with you first, Jacob. How would you grade the Rockets season, and what do they have to do this offseason to actually be contenders? Because last year the number 2 seed lost in the first round. This year, number 5 seed lost in the first round. They added KD, but didn't seem to help them. Like, how do they finally reach the heights that they want to go?
Man, this might be the hardest team in terms of how to grade because they were definitely a team before the season started. You could say one of the teams that was going all in for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Weird season with Durant and the burners and him shit talking his teammate. I mean, that was hilarious, but also just weird. Like, is this really Kevin Durant at this stage of his career? Probably. I also think he's gone. I think there's a couple teams that are interesting. As much as I know he's a Washington, D.C. native, I don't think that he's probably what the Wizards are looking for as they can try to take the next step. But I do think that he's still obviously one of the best, bucket getters in the league, and someone will want him. I think that you try to get depth from your KD trade instead of trying to get a superstar back or trying to get the best amount of first round picks. I think you should get a potential starter and 2 more depth guys, bench guys that you can kind of put together a well-oiled machine. I think the young guys on this team are ready to take the next step. Thompson and Sengun specifically, I mean, they were arguably better without him and with Jalen Green, who I just talked about how much I dislike his game. Mm-hmm. So I do think that the KD Houston experiment is going to be short-lived, but where he goes and what the return is going to be very interesting. But in terms of their season, I think I'm going to have to go with like a C because they had championship aspirations, and they got bounced pretty quickly. I know Durant didn't play, but neither did Luka and Austin Reeves. So that's a tough way to end your season.
Couldn't agree more, Lawrence. How would you grade the Rockets season? Where do they go from here? Do you move KD? Do you try to make it work again? What are you thinking?
I'll give it an F just because I thought it was idiotic. I think I talked shit on it from the beginning when we were talking shit about the fact that the team didn't have a point guard.
Yeah.
And then everyone roasted this team about wanting to go let's just run the ones every time. Like, every time they play offense, it's like, all right, let's run the ones real quick. And it's like, oh, let's get our 1v1s on and let's see if we win. And it almost never works. And then, like, we're talking about how, like, yeah, this was like they're all in here. Like, they went for it. They, like, they made some moves. You made the moves when your goddamn point guard is sitting there on the bench hurt all season, and you knew it going into the season that he wasn't going to be there the whole season. So what's the whole point of going into the season thinking, all right, we got to make our moves. We're gonna go full send for it. But you did it without your point guard. You did it without the guy who's going to control the ball on a team that all they do is run the ones.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket science, that was. Good, great title for the team called the Rockets. In terms of other things, You're paying Steven Adams $13 and $12 million the next 2 years, and that man's just going to play 10 games a year because he gets hurt too quick. Probably should try to figure out you can make that contract a little less, or try to figure out a team that might want to trade him. Maybe the Thunder might be looking open, like they already winning so much. A backup big, how could go wrong? He's a legend of our team, anyways. Might have to be trying to play those kind of cards because I don't want to go one more year if I'm the Rockets with Steven Adams. Y'all got Clint Capella for a reason. He costs less, pretty much does the same thing. Fights, gets like maximum 10 points a game. Max 10 points. 10, 20 rebounds if he really wants to. But, 10 rebounds a game. So sometimes he'll lock up a double-double. Play some hardcore defense in the paint, fight. Yeah, exactly what you're paying Steven Adams for. Cheaper. Clint Capella, in my opinion, doesn't get hurt as often, but I could be just thinking of that differently just because of Steven Adams' last couple years, but I don't think Clint Capella gets hurt as often. But here comes the problem. Thompson's going to want some more money because he's starting to show flashes. Yeah. He's going to want some more money. Last year is his last year, and it is a team option. So try to undercut the boy. He might not like it. Be too nice to him. Reed Shepherd's coming up with a team option next year. He's probably going to get paid because he does. How can you say anything otherwise? He put up some big shots in the playoffs. Now, were they always good shots? No, he did miss one right in front of LeBron, and LeBron kind of cooked his ass. Then the next game, he did shoot one in front of LeBron, and LeBron couldn't cook his ass. So I guess it's kind of go back and forth. He's kind of had the highs and the lows. You'll never hear me complain about Dorian Finney-Smith. You'll also never hear me gas him up either. I mean, he is there. He's just there to be there. He's there to, play that good defense. This team doesn't have any. I don't know. You're gonna run it next year with Fred VanVleet. He's probably gonna be. He's on an expiring contract. It's gonna be a player option. And you guys are dog shit. He's probably gonna leave because he's old as hell and needs to go somewhere before he finally hangs it up. And then at that point, this is a lifetime Raptor we're talking about here. This man was on the Raptors for a while. Who knows? This man might just go to the Raptors, and the Raptors could use a point guard. And damn, they might pay him another $25 million because they can. And he's probably worth about 25, maybe 20. We got to see how he comes back from this injury. But Fred VanVleet's probably on the way out, even though you went all in before you had the point guard. Like, I think this season could have been completely different if you had a point guard. If you had someone to move the ball around instead of just trying to 1v1 the guy in front of you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with both of you guys. I think it's probably like a C season for the Rockets. Expected a lot more from them. Not going all the way in. Obviously, they only gave up Jalen Green, I think a first rounder for that trade, but and Dylan Brooks, of course. But hey, you still gave up valuable assets. Like, they could have added that first round pick to their rotation, cheap young guy who could grow into either a starter or a very capable role player down the road. But you go get Kevin Durant, who was durable for most of the year. I think he played 78 games, and then just unfortunately got hurt during practice in the playoffs. So I think the resolution, and this might be unpopular, but it might just be to blow it up. Not blow it up all the way, but at least get rid of Kevin Durant. If you're not going to give Thompson the max, ship him off somewhere, get some value from him. You're pretty much only really sold on Sengun. He's baby Jokic. Probably keep him. Keep Jabari Smith. You paid him, so probably no one wants to pick up that contract. Reed Shepherd, he's coming down the road. Like you said, Lawrence, you have to pay him at some point. So you probably don't want to move off of him because he still has some promise. More than a capable shooter as well. So that's what I would do, guys. Just get off Kevin Durant. It's not working. You talk shit on his burner. The vibes are off. You're not going to go anywhere. Even with the point guard, it's not going to work with Fred coming back. It's not going to make much of a difference. This team, I think, the vibes are down. Morale is down. The only thing you can change is Kevin Durant. So I think he's gone. what you get for him, probably even less than what you paid to get him. Honestly, like I don't think you get a first rounder for Kevin Durant. So I think you just get depth, like you said. I think Jacob, you said you just get the pieces you can, get some quality. You're not gonna get a start back, so get some quality pieces back. It's not gonna be a first rounder, so just some guys that can contribute. And I say you stay young. You stay young, and you keep taking cracks at the draft. You got a lot of picks going forward. You have some of the Phoenix's picks, so I would just keep those just in case Devin Booker ever wants to leave Phoenix. Hey, you might be the first team in line because you have their picks, and I think Phoenix would be very interested in getting their picks back. So I think that's the hand you play. I think you play the long game. Obviously, going in was not the option. You didn't go all the way in, but being 1 foot in, 1 foot out, I think it's not what you want to be if you're the Rockets. So give them a C, and they got a tough task of getting rid of Kevin Durant. Maybe Thompson.
What if he ends up in Miami for Hero and picks?
Ugh.
Nah, they're not doing it for picks. They might do it for this year's pick.
I could see Hero one for one, based on the age and the contracts and everything.
Maybe Hero.
My thing with them trading for, my thing with Hero is going into the next season knowing that Fred VanVleet is coming off the injury that he is.
Yeah.
At least you got a backup idea with Reed Shepherd. Like, at least I know that, like, in the coming years, Reed Shepherd and Hero are going to keep me in games. At least with their offensive capabilities.
Yeah.
And honestly, your goal may or may not be to train one of them to be an all-time point guard. And at this point, it's probably going to be Reed Shepherd that gets trained to be a point guard, or I would say more forced into that spot, which might be more interesting because I'm pretty sure at Kentucky that man never ball handled, or was not ever the primary ball handler.
It's an interesting thought. I mean, Hero would have to be in the deal. I think, at this stage of his career, plus with the burner account, I think KD is pretty much that neutral asset. Like, you run the risk of him doing another burner account and fucking up the vibes, and I think that's like a negative for teams, right? So if I'm any team, I'm not giving up more than one first rounder. And if I'm giving a first rounder, it's this year's. I'm not giving up a future. No. Sorry.
The only problem with the thing about Durant, though, is like every team's automatically going to be in awe of the idea of him on your team. And I think one thing for the Heat they have is like, okay, he gets to that team. Durant can't feel, I would say, like more mighty than like Spoelstra. Like you're not on a higher totem pole in terms of like last decade than Spoelstra. This man's like what, 3 titles? Does he have 3 titles, or is it only 2?
3.
I think it's 2.
2? He's got 2 titles. Durant has 2 titles on a God squad.
Oh.
Spoelstra has 2 titles. I think one of them was like almost nobody's, is it not?
Spoelstra was an assistant on that 07 team, that one with Shaq and Wade.
Okay. Like Spoelstra has like proven himself over the years. So like I would say the ability to like have a ground to even have the to be able to talk shit. I feel like he wouldn't feel that ability there. I feel like he feels that with the Rockets because everyone's a freaking child around him, and low key, so is the coach. Like the coaching, he's not that old. Like he's almost KD's age. Like probably like what, 40s, 50s. He's not that old. KD's almost 40 years old. He's pushing 40. It's like Spoelstra is not also that old, but he's got a proven track record. Okay, the front office has Pat Riley. Very proven track record. Number 1 player on the team. If he could, like, Durant knows he's the number 1 player on the Rockets. They just have a future guy who might be better than him at his current state.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, we know Durant's better than Sengun. Sengun hasn't proven enough yet to be called anything other than that. Bam Adebayo just dropped, what was it, 82? 82 points? 83? Just dropped 83 points. Durant ain't got shit to say on that. Durant ain't got shit to say. So Bam Adebayo owns the locker room. So how is Durant even going to get into there and then feel the ability to even talk shit when he ain't even the shit on his own team?
Hey, those are good points. I think you're right. Bam's the captain. Like, everyone's going to listen to the cap. It's just a matter of will KD fall in line? More than likely, probably, if he agrees to go to Miami. But if
I don't
you're
think he
other
has a
teams
choice,
that
bro.
don't have, if you're other teams that don't have that culture, Lawrence, like he's not gonna, he's
I think
more
that
just
is
like
I think that is the problem with Durant, and I feel like that was why other teams might look at Durant and say, okay, for instance, like the Wizards, or sorry, not the Wizards, I would say no, the Wizards,
the Wizard.
Wizards,
Yeah,
the Hornets. Like, say the Hornets are like, oh man, we need like a guy, like the guy, like a guy, like he probably ruins your roster, ruins your whole entire makeup, and he's just gonna talk shit about how they're kids, and we're gonna be like, yeah, he's got a point.
yeah,
What Brandon Miller's what 24, LaMelo's what 24.
yeah,
So everyone's just a bunch of 24-year-olds, and they're really good, but they don't have any like just like a background knowledge of like how to be in the league as like a pros pro, and that's gonna rub Durant the wrong way,
I got
with a
two.
bunch of kids.
I got two really interesting but different teams that could very well be interested.
I think the funny one, and there's a funny one and a more realistic one for me. I think the funny one is going back to the Warriors because they want to run it back. Kerr's going to be back. Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, KD. I think that'd be hilarious, and I think Kevin Durant is petty and silly enough to do some shit like that.
yeah.
I also think the one that's more realistic that no one's going to see coming is the Toronto Raptors because they've always been in on the big fish and they rarely get the big fish outside of Kawhi Leonard, who they let the big fish leave their building. I think if they miss out on Giannis, I think the Heat makes sense if they don't get Giannis, but I think the Heat are going to go all in on trying to get Giannis. Same with the Knicks. I think if you package like an Ingram and maybe one of their kind of like rotational younger guys, maybe like a Grady Dick, just based on the whole, like, if you're Houston, you get a guy like Ingram, all right, he can put up, 20 a game. That's solid. And you also kind of get rid of that distraction. Whereas Toronto, because they're in a unique market, they need guys. And that was our big thing with them this year is they have three three twos on their team. And they clearly need one guy that's going to be like the main guy.
Yeah.
They're an older team, so they're not like a bunch of kids that Durant's going to shit on. So I think Toronto does make a lot of sense if Giannis ends up going elsewhere. And I also think Durant can kind of get some payback for the 2019 finals in which the Raptors beat him after he got hurt.
Hey, I like that. I like that the Raptors definitely make sense. I think him and Brandon Ingram make similar amounts of money, so I think the money works. Might have to throw in a minimum guy, but it makes sense. Raptors get their guy, and hey, maybe the Rockets can work some magic with Ingram. Who knows? But I do think it's a good possibility. Does it make sense for the hometown kid to come back to DC? Let's say if AD does stick around and they re-sign Trey, do the Wizards make the move to get Kevin Durant and bring him home?
I think they should because he's not gonna be a toxic man in the locker room with Trae Young and AD unless AD breaks his fingernail. I feel like he might say some shit then.
I think the idea is very intriguing because, like I said, same with the team they have now. Like, ask me 5 years ago, like, imagine a Trae Young, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant. Of course, they're in different stages now. AD always damaged. He probably will, break his fingertip and piss off Durant. I just think it depends on which young prospect they'd want back.
Yeah.
If it was Trey Johnson, or a Keyshawn George, I'd have to say no. If it was a Bub Carrington, even Bilal, and I love Bilal so much, like they'd have to at least entertain that. I would just worry about where the team would be in 2 to 3 years, as opposed to even if Trey, doesn't resign, if Davis eventually wants out. Like I do like the young core that the Wizards have bought or kind of developed and gained by being so bad. And I worry that Durant and his antics would negatively affect that. But also, Anthony Davis has been saying that that's the one player he's always wanted to play with. So I feel like if Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant are golfing on the same course this year, then that actually could be a possibility. I just don't think that I would be a huge fan of it. But at the same time, it'd make for a fun season if those three could stay healthy.
I would say, though, it would be good for Washington to do it because the Capitals are probably going to go into a tiny little rut. Their best, one of the best, hockey's one of the best hockey players of all time will be retiring within a year or two. The Caps are going to be kind of in a reset. The Nationals are still in a reset. So someone besides the DC Defenders has to be good in the nation's capital.
Yeah.
DC United is also not very good. They are also bottom of the MLS. Someone from the nation's capital has to be good. And I get it. The Wizards might, that's our future. We're going to have to lobby our future. Everyone else in the DC capital sucks weenies right now. And if we can become the only team in the nation's capital that doesn't suck weenies, guess who's going to have every single event sold out? Because every single person in the DC area is going to be so excited that they don't have a weenie team.
I think that's a great idea, Lawrence. And, they're making renovations at Capital One Arena. So what better way to usher everyone back into a new upgraded arena than, bringing the hometown kid back home.
Yeah.
And it might cost you. I'm sorry, Jacob. It might cost you Trae Young, but you do have young guards on your team, and you have the potential to draft really high in this year's draft. So maybe if it's just Trae Young for KD straight up, the Rockets need a point guard. You want KD, you want to bring him home. The money works.
I like the money on that. That actually is interesting.
I think if you're the Wizards,
there's no
you
attachment.
have to entertain it. Yeah, and there's no attachment because KD's contract's up in 2 years, so it's not a long-term commitment. It's just, hey, just come home for 2 years, and then if you want to retire, you retire. If you don't, hey, see you later. You go play where you want to go.
And once he's here, he's probably not leaving again.
Well,
he probably just set up shop. His mom's here.
I don't know. I also think that the lottery balls will make a difference. I think if the Wizards strike gold and the Wizards get 1 or even 2, this conversation kind of gets mute. But if they get screwed, as they have in the past however many years, go all the way down to 4 or 5, then it's like, okay, we were bad all season because it was such a good draft, and there's a big 4, and we were the worst team, and we got the 5th pick. Then I can see some like, you know what, screw it, screw the plan. Let's get KD. Let's get Kevin Durant in here. Let's make this city love basketball again, because it's been a long time since they were mid. When they had Beal, they were a mid team, and that feels like a long time ago. So I do think that it might be dependent on the lottery, because I don't think that if you get number 1 pick and draft AJ DeBonza, I don't think you bring in Kevin Durant there, because then you got to jam at the forward. So depending on the lottery balls, I think that the chances of this either increase or decrease.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think if you pick 1 or 2, you probably don't entertain it. Anything less, you might start making some calls. You might start making some calls for sure.
Especially like you said, Markel, if you trade Trae Young straight up to the Rockets, which they need a point guard.
Yes.
And you get Kevin Durant, what do the Wizards need now? We have a bunch of shooting guards. We need a point guard. You're picking 5th, so you just got screwed. You take Darius Acuff out of Arkansas.
Boom.
There's your point guard. You got a point guard. You got a bunch of 2s. You got a lot of good young forwards, along with Durant and Anthony Davis. Big kid Sarr down the middle. Like there's some routes. There's some routes if the ping pong balls don't fall in their favor.
Yeah, like you said, make DC basketball great again. They just haven't been good since, honestly, Wall and Beal. Honestly.
Yeah.
But we'll see what really happens with Kevin Durant come this offseason. I think we'll find more. We'll learn more come closer to the draft. Anything else that we got to wrap up before the end of the episode? Hockey is going on. I believe your Sabres, Jacob, won game 1.
Yeah, they took game 1 at home. Always good to start a series on the winning side. Hurricanes and the Avalanche, I think we can touch on that. They're flying through this right now. Anaheim tied up the Golden Knights, so that series is 1-1. So yeah, look forward to hockey through the weekend. And like I mentioned earlier, the NBA draft lottery is on Sunday. I know it probably sounds cliche, but it's a really big day for the Wizards, just because when the season started, it was like, okay, let's please be the worst team in the league. You go through the entire season, you complete their goal, not only one team can be the worst team in the league, and that's what I wanted as a Wizards fan. So, yeah, and like I said too, there's a big four. So even getting the 4th overall pick and going down 3 spots would be something to celebrate. They have a 52% chance to be in the top 4, which to me means they have a 48% chance to be picking number 5, which would absolutely stink. So it's basically 50-50, 50% chance they get into the top 4, 50 chance that they don't. So look for the NBA lottery, and let's not have some tomfoolery this time. I know the Adam Silver, that bald man, had a plan up his sleeve last year with the Dallas Mavericks getting Cooper Flag. So let's not have any of that. Let's see the teams that really need it. Let's see the Wizards. Let's see the Jazz. Let's see the Nets. Let's see some of these dog shit franchises get some lottery luck and get the eventual best players in the draft.
Yeah, last year of the format as it is right now. Next year they got a new format. It still needs to be approved, but looks more than likely that they'll roll out that new format starting next year. My Heatles have a 4% chance. I think almost 5% chance to move into the top 4. I think a 1% chance at number 1. So fingers crossed they get some lottery luck like the Mavs and move their way on up. They sure could use a AJ or Darius Acuff or a Caleb Wilson for sure. Lawrence, anything else you want to talk about before we head out?
I think I've hit a lot of my points I needed. Wait, I think I did a lot of the talking.
Fair enough. I see you. Last thing for me, WWE Backlash this weekend. We got Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu for the WWE Championship. Great match. Other than that, the matches haven't been looking too stellar, to be honest. I think we got a random Cody Rhodes versus Gunther thrown in there. We got some of the ladies fighting as well. So honestly, not really a stat card, but we'll see the results of that. I'll give you guys updates on Monday. But
is it too early to think that Fatu can win it though? I feel like it's a guarantee that Roman Reigns takes it though.
100% Roman's going to win. My guess is he keeps the belt until I forgot when Street Fighter comes out, but I have a feeling the WWE wants to have their 2 big guys who also starred in the movie holding the belts at the same time, because I think they'll probably get a cut of that movie and all the sales. So that's my 2 cents. But yeah, I mean, eventually maybe Fatu will take the belt from him, Lawrence, but I think you're right. It's a little bit too early. First opponent after WrestleMania, I'm not really seeing it.
Yeah.
But with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. This is episode 236, Sideline Brief Podcast, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace.